I really feel that, especially in the black community, people underestimate the impacts uh, that queer phobia and homophobia have on you on an individual level. When I think about the Andrew Gillum story, and this is just me speculating, I don't know anything beyond what's been reported, but the thing that kicks up in my spirit and the thing that always comes to top of mind for me is I suspect that the the core of the drug use is probably in his inability to be himself, and j- just the hard pill. And I think everything else contributed to probably where his like mental state is and where he is in life, losing the gubernatorial race in 2018, and then the investigation where he was indicted but it ended in a hung jury. But going through that, I think that played a big piece in it. But I really think when this happened the first time, when the pictures came out and he was passed out in the hotel with the white passing Spanish sex workers or whatever that were gay, I I really feel like the pain is knowing that he could never live up to that image of being this perfect black heterosexual man. Like that is forever tarnished, and no matter what he does, I think the reality of being perceived as a queer person, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Gilliam thinks that causes more pain than being perceived as a drug user. And I really think I really think people in our community, especially the straights, they discount how hard it is for people to be themselves, especially when they are queer or they exist somewhere on a spectrum, and the lengths that people will go to soothe themselves, because everybody cannot be themselves and be them, not just be yourself in the sense of just living your life and for your family, but be yourself and have the type of access that Andrew Gillum was setting his whole life up to have. I mean, hell, he became mayor of Tallahassee at 23, and because of the way in which he was outed, uh, all of that goes away, compounded with the drugs and now this arrest, and well, it's just a lot. When I look at Andrew Gillum, and also the type of drugs that he was using, like, I know this is serious. Let's inject a little comedy into it. Methamphetamine, sis. Meth. That's a party girl drug. That is a drug that is deeply in community. And I know I've been seeing people saying, "Oh, that's a white people's drug." No, meth is deeply in black queer communities. You just have not been paying attention. I know everybody thinks that is a white gay drug, but that hasn't been the case for about a decade now, because there's been documented studies and films about how crystal meth has a stronghold in the black queer community. But I digress. But when I look at Andrew Gilliam, I see somebody that because of the queerness, I suspect that that is something very hard to cope with, because we do live in a world where being perceived as heterosexual gives you social access. And people are, that's why we have so many people on the DL. That's why we have so many people who are closeted. And yes, you can be out and be gay, but there are certain things that you will never have access to. And it's no shade, as progressive as the world is in 2026, to be out bisexual black governor of Florida now, especially with the other things, I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's going to be very hard for that to happen. And I think that's very hard to sit with. I think he had to come out as bi. But even when he came out and did the Tamara Hall stuff, because I had a podcast at the time and we did a deep dive, he really didn't. He kind of danced around it, but he didn't really own it, which lets me know that you don't really. You're saying it is what it is, but you don't really feel strong in your identity. And to me, that I'm not a drug counselor. I'm not none of that. But there's a core that leads us to what I do know is that there's something at the core that leads us um to use the drugs to cope or to have a good time. I don't know. But when I look at him, I see somebody that is still struggling um with the life that was taken away from him once he was outed as somebody that exists on the queer spectrum. But I do hope he's able to find peace with it. I hope he's able to recover. I hope his family is good. But yeah, it's hard. It is hard being out here, being black and being queer, because a lot of people always want to have something to say, and people will use your queerness to take opportunities from you, and that's why you have so many that people that live their lives certain types of ways, because they don't want no smoke. Even people that are visibly queer, um, young Ma, Debrat, clearly looking like somebody's stud auntie, talking about I don't want to use labels. There's an underlying reason, sinister reason behind why people don't want to use labels. It's not, oh, I just want to be free. No, people don't want the negativity that comes with being in community, with identifying as lesbian and being associated with other or just other queer people. There's a reason why people don't want any labels, because there's a lot of negativity that comes with it, and some of us, like myself, are able to uh, attack it head on and own it. But everybody is not me, and everybody does not have that, especially if you were raised a certain way, if you have a family, it's hard. So my heart really does go out to him. What do y'all think?